Okay.
Yes, sir.
Fine. So let us start with our prayer. Uh, can you
One
just,
second, sir.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Very good. Yes.
One second. I just want to make sure that it's presenting and not. We'll just do slideshow. Yeah.
So okay now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, fine. So let us start with Yena Samabnayam
Enakshasamagnayam
Enakshasamagnayam
Igamya Maheswarat
Adhigamya
adhigamyamaheshwara
Maheshwarat
Krishnang Vyakaranang Proktam
Kritsam
kritsam
Nang
vyakaranam
Vyakaranang Proktam
Tasmai Paninaye Namaha.
Tasmai
tasme paninay
Paninai Namaha.
So let us the sutras next, please. So sutras. So Ayun, tell us. Ayun,
ayun
relate.
relate
Rilak
Ewan,
eon
Evam
Ayouch,
ayaut
Ayauch
Ayabarat,
hayavarat
Ayavarat
Lan,
lan
Lan
Nyamawananam,
Yamanam
yamananam
Jabhaya,
jabhayam
Jabhaya
Garadhas,
gadadas
Gadadas
Jabagaradas,
jabagadadas
Jabagadadas
Kapha Chatatha Chatatab,
kapha
Kapha
chatatat
Chatata
chatatat
Chatatab
Kap, Kapaya,
kapai
Kapay
Sasasar,
shasasar
Sasar
Hal.
hal
Iti Maheswarani Sutrani
iti
Iti
maheshwarani
Maheswarani
sutrani
Sutrani
Anadi Sangyarthani.
anadi
Anadi
sangyarmani
Sangyarthani.
Okay, so this is the our key, the key sounds, the key phonemic groups. Anyway, so today we'll start with some doubts, questions. Any doubt, any questions, let us start with because we have covered so many things. Then I will take up the classes. I will tell what are the rest remaining. We'll explain. So, shall we have some questions? Any doubt? Anybody? Yes. In general, also you can ask the course, its nature, its applicability, its utility, and its present, future, any aspect you can ask, so that we should know what we are doing, how we can make use of it. That should be our main goal. Yeah, please, any question?
I've got a question out of curiosity. It's regarding what was the script, original script of Sanskrit. I just connected that when Vasudev was dictating, Vasudev was narrating or uh, the Vedas to, and Sri Ganesh was written it as it is the when it is in mythology. What could have been that script? Is there
So,
was
okay, I will answer it, but try to keep your questions within this course we
yes,
have
yes. It
completed.
is.
But this is always we should know that everything first, whatever was written, it was in Brahmi. Okay,
Brahmi.
from Brahmi script only other script developed. Okay, but still Veda first Vedic text, it is Veda, is written. It is available in Bhandarkar Institute now Pune, which is now kept in the World Heritage in UNESCO. So that is Devanagari script is mostly used after Brahmi. Brahmi is the
Brahmi.
first script that is used for Sanskrit, and then it came to Devanagari very late. Late it came.
Okay.
Yeah, because all our scripts goes into Brahmin. There is a text called Indian Alphabets by O.P. Ojha. There is a very big book where all the scripts are given, all Indian scripts are given, starting with Brahmi, how the scripts have changed, the development of scripts. You will get find that in that book. There is one book, Jha, that who has made this. You will get. It is also available in website. I mean, any you can get in the Google also. The Indian alphabets. If you ask, you will get. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Please. Yes. Anybody else about the course? What you have done? What you are going to do? Anything? Okay. Think it when we'll.
Yeah. I have a small question.
Ah.
In
Yeah.
the in the Maheshwara
Sutras.
Sutra,
Hmm.
we have only la. We don't have the other sound la,
No.
like
No.
phalam.
Hmm.
So is that also a letter? Because I find in some of the grammar books they described it as dusprusta,
Hmm.
ala,
Yeah.
where ganta and both are used. So
Good.
is that not a part of the sounds that we have? And was the Brahmi script
So,
having a separate letter for it?
so that is how this in linguistics. What they do is they try to establish the phonemes. Phonemes means the basic sound units, which are original. But there are certain sounds which undergo change in certain contexts. They are called allophones. So and they are all variants. So is a sound, is a variant. It is called flap, and sometimes become when it is intervocalic. If it is in the Veda, we have one or two. We have agnim ile. That that we get in Veda, it comes only when between two vowels. Ile.
Mhm.
So like that in many of but this what we find in our Indian languages, they are mostly coming from Prakrit stage. Their development has taken place. This law is been pronounced or in certain places because law cannot come word initially. That indicates that law is not an independent phoneme in some languages. But in Tamil, you have three laws. If you look at la, and three are there. So, but in Tamil, they are all phoneme. They are all distinct, separate. The difference in meaning is there. But in our languages, so this phala, we say phala, but in Hindi it is phal. In Sanskrit also it is phalam. We pronounce with the law, with the intervocalic, flap, we call flap it is because it is, beats, la 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 la. The tongue beats, this is called flapping. So this flap, when it comes, this rada become ra. So it depends upon the condition. So these are the conditional variants. So most of the variants which we get in our languages, they are not independent phonemes. So Panini has only considered those phonemes which are independent, means they are distinct and they are original. But each phoneme has a variation in different context. So context variation, that's why these are the rules. Why the rules are necessary? Because how these sounds undergo change and when and where. That's why we need the context. So changes among the sounds are always contextual. Because certain sounds cannot come in the beginning of the word. It is adi. So bola, ana, ada. They cannot come in the beginning of the word. So that's but when they are coming in the middle of the word or at the end of the word. So if you see this, so that same sound occurs differently. I think if you have I'll give one example from Odia. We have generally in Hindi also we have dabba, dabba, dabba. Okay, here we pronounce a da. But if you change it, you get bada, da. There is no bada. It is bada in English. We get in Odia. So we get a different meaning. So it is sometimes it is positional, sometimes it is so distinction comes, it is a place. Okay. So sounds when change that takes place sometimes contextually. So in a particular context, either in the beginning or at the middle or at the end. There are always three places the sounds are distributed. So these three places form the conditions for the sound change, Adi, Madhya, Anta. So, but certain sounds which are not used in, so Panini has given those sounds which were phoneme in Sanskrit language. But the later languages which developed as separate phonemes, so they are used only in certain places like in middle or mostly they are called flaps. Flaps mean the la, these types of sounds they come in the middle or at the end of the words. So in some languages it makes difference. Sometimes people say there are, in Sanskrit we have bana, but if it is Prakrit it is bana. But we are using both the words are used in Odia suppose. If in a language, whether we will call the same or different. So no and no are variants. So if you look at this, so that means no is the basic sound. Then no has so that means Panini has a sutra rasa abhyang no. So na become na in the middle of a pada if it is there is a ra or a shakara murdhanyasa in the word. So that's why you get ramena. Ra is there, na become ramena. Yes, please. Yeah, yeah. So there are certain things that we have to say in the modern languages. So change has taken place. That is why they are called tadbhavas. Tadbhavas in the sense, so mostly originally they have one sound. Then in later stages, according to the context, the sounds have undergone change. So that's why different language has different phonemes. Those basically one categories same kavarga, but if you come to other languages, sometimes it gets changed and you make a difference. So the phoneme number varies according to the use in the language because they have to show the meaning reference. You have three laws in Tamil, three laws and three laws. So this is something specific. But in a group, in kavarga, they have only two sounds, ka and wa. Whereas raw, they have three. Law they have three. So it is a language necessity needed. But basically, these are the basic units of sound produced by human mouth, human organs. That's why articulatory phonetics. So always we have to look at the articulatory phonetics has its own limitation because we have the places of articulation, what we call sthana prayatna, like lips, teeth, lip. So we have then you have this tongue. So we have the different places, minimum five places. We have panchavargas. Why? Because you have only five places: Kanthya, Talu, Murdhanya, Dantya, Ostya. So any sound, any consonant that comes under this category. But once these are the basics, so he has given the basic units. But these units have been, changed in different our languages when it comes to Prakri, Dhore, to Pali, or we say in Hindi, Udiya, Marathi, in different places. The sounds change has taken place. They are accountable according to that particular language. That's why a number of phonemes change varies in Indian languages. But basic unit is this. From that, the variation has taken place. Yes. That we have to always verify which is a phoneme, which is in which language. So it is not that same phoneme will be present in every language, not necessarily. Because according to our need, in one particular language, the phoneme takes an important place according to the difference in meaning. So we have Dabba, we have Bada. It is in Odia only, Bada. It is not in other languages. So that is how we have to consider them as a phoneme or allophone. So variations are always secondary or contextual, whereas original phonemes are only counted in the consideration of the phonemes of a language. So for Sanskrit, so Panini, that means R was not the original sound, it is only a variant in Sanskrit language. Yes.
Sir, sir, I want to ask one thing, sir. When we discuss this tense, mood, and aspect,
Ha, ha.
yes, sir. So, sir,
Yes.
there we discussed this dashlakar
Yes.
and bhudhatu, and then we have different types of tenses in a way, like latlakar, litlakar, lutlakar, litlakar,
Yeah.
litlakar,
Yeah. Yeah.
lutlakar,
Hmm.
langlakar, linglakar, lunglakar, and again ringlakars.
Regular. Hmm.
Yes, sir. Sir, and then you told us that there are two divisions in Lakara. Tit lakara and uh, git.
Itlakara.
Git
Yes,
lakara. Yes,
yes,
sir.
yes.
But sir, you also told us that in git lakara this e is lobed. There is
In,
a,
yeah, yes, yes, yes. So this is what I am. That's what I am going to see. Now, what is happening? So our lakshya, the data is the usage in the language. Okay. So when you take the verbal forms or verbal inflectional forms, we'll take what we are talking lokara means is it comes under inflection because you are getting different forms from a particular root and they are used in terms of or in the sense of present, past, time, tense, moods, and aspects. So these are the common feature of any verb in any language. In English, they use auxiliaries. He will go. He may go. He had gone. So they use extra words to indicate those meanings in English language. But these are the meanings of a language. These are concerned with the action, kriya. So inflections are the meaning tenses, times, division of times, manner of action, mode of actions. These are all always common to every language. But how it is presented, how it is used in a language is a matter of what you can say concern that is. In English, they don't have inflectional system. That's why they
sorry,
are adding
sorry, sir. I
yeah.
lost my connection, sir. I lost my connection, sir.
Please.
That
So
time.
in the English language, because it is not inflectional, to convey these meanings, they add these auxiliary verbs. He
Yes,
has
sir.
gone, he had gone. So that
Yes,
the system it differs. In the
yes,
same, meaning remains same.
yes,
Tense,
sir.
moods, aspects.
Yes, sir.
These are the common feature of any action. So
Yes, sir.
whenever we are talking any action or kriya, we say it involves these things. So these meanings, which are common to every language, are not used or communicated in the same way. The
Yes, sir.
mode of reference is different. We use suffixes.
Yes, sir.
So our suffixes are used for all these three types,
Yes, sir.
even
Yes,
agent. Now,
yes,
how when you use these all these meanings with one item,
yes, sir.
it become polysemy.
Yes, sir.
Okay, this become polysemy, and in
Yes,
morphologically, it is called as if one suffix gives more than one meaning. No, so we have the what you call that. Mm, I'll tell you. So
yes, sir.
these suffixes represent tense,
Yes, sir.
person,
Yes,
number.
sir.
So
Yes,
verbal suffixes, particularly
yes,
verbal
yes,
endings, that's why they are called the case so verbal endings because they represent these four aspects: agent, okay,
yes, sir.
karta, then
Yes,
you
sir.
have the tense, kala, then you have person, purusha, and number.
Yes, sir.
All these four meanings are there. So among them, what is common? The common is person, number, gender.
Yes, sir.
But tense are many.
Yes, sir.
So same suffix is to be used to indicate or along with the time.
Yes, sir.
How to distinguish that?
Yes,
So
sir.
when you say bhavati or gachati, you understand he is going.
Yes, sir.
But if you are using he went, so we say agachat.
Yes, sir.
So what is happening? The meaning difference is shown by adding or changing the suffix
Yes, sir. Yes,
within the root.
yes, sir.
So bhavat, gachati, agachat, patati, apatat. Any root we take. So
Yes,
this,
sir.
but so this is the difference is made in the language. Communication is perfect, effective.
Yes, sir.
But the form has changed. Now the
Yes.
question remains how it is possible, what is the rule behind, why it has changed.
Yes, sir.
Bhavati, bhavishat. So each tense, when used in a language, the
Yes, sir.
verbal form undergo change.
Yes, sir.
So what is the verbal form here? The root and the suffix.
Yes, sir.
So root and suffix of a verb undergo change
Yes, sir.
according to the tense, moods, and aspects.
Yes, sir.
Person number remains same.
Yes, sir.
Okay, person number remains same. Three person, three numbers are fixed. For
Yes, sir.
Sanskrit, three numbers, but in other language, two numbers. So these P and G, person, number, gender, are fixed for every tense.
Yes, sir.
But when this tense changes, so naturally, how do you know the form undergo change?
Yes, sir.
So the verbal form, both root and suffix, they undergo change.
Yes,
So
sir.
if in case of pathati, you have pathati.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
but if you take bhavati, so you get bhu or ti, then you guna, vriddhi, all these are there, no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So that is right. First thing, there is a change in the form which
Yes.
indicates the tense changing. So patati, apatat.
Yes, sir.
Now if it is future, you will say patisyati. So
Yes.
patati, again in between you get sya. So sya is the marker for future.
Yes, sir.
If we look at this form, so in each person, in each number, undergo change 10 times as per Sanskrit is concerned. Why 10 times? Because all the tens, the division of time is into 10. The time is divided in 10 ways.
Yes,
What are
sir.
the 10 division of time? So you have in English or in Indian languages, we have simply past, present, and future.
Yes, sir.
Three only. Even you
Yes.
take English also they will say two tenses,
Two tenses. Yes, sir.
present and past,
Yes,
no
sir.
future.
No
Okay,
future.
so
Yes.
it is into they understand. But in our case, because it is inflectional, each form is distinct.
Yes, sir.
So because the forms are distinct, so one way meaning because of meaning division, you have different forms
Yes, sir.
in each person, in each number, in
Yes,
each tense.
yes, sir.
So the same suffix, nine suffixes, undergo change 10 times.
Yes, sir.
So these changes which are used in the language, people have used it. People have distinguished. People have
Yes.
used
Yes, sir.
90 forms of a root.
Yes, sir.
Because whole literature in Sanskrit, you will get only these 90 forms.
Yes, sir.
So if you take 90 forms with one root, the question remains for the grammarian, how do you account for it?
Yes, sir.
How to describe it? How to
Yes.
make a rule? Whether there is a rule? So
Yes, sir.
many forms, no, 90 forms, it is from one root
Yes,
to
sir.
represent tense, moods, and aspects. How it is possible? So grammarian is not creating anything, only he is trying to describe how 90 forms are correct.
Yes, sir.
Like patati is present singular, patisyati is future singular, apatati is past singular. Like
Yes.
that, if we say, now what is the proof? When do you get patati? When do you get bhavati? When do you get abhavat? Why do you get
Yes.
bhavish? But the forms which are used are many,
Yes, sir.
are infinite. You can go that way.
Yes, sir.
But the meaning that is used are finite.
Finite. Yes, sir.
The meaning, the concepts, or the what you call the common ideas that we have in our what you call the rules, particularly. So these are the we are using language with specific rules. That means we know any sentence used in our languages must be either in the first person, second person, or third person.
Yes, sir.
This is how do we know them? Only from the verbal endings.
Yes, sir.
So verbal endings are the proof to indicate and to tell us that these are the three forms possible in two numbers. So six forms of a verbal ending is used in any modern Indian languages. For Sanskrit, it is only nine. Okay, three
Yes.
into. So now these forms variations in terms of tense, moods, and aspects.
Yes,
So
sir.
the grammarian has to explain them to be descriptive adequately, to describe it adequately with rules, with logic. You cannot say just patati patati, it happened like that. Not possible.
Yes, sir.
Changes that has taken place within these forms, even there are 90, Panini proves that there is only one root and the root has undergone change 10 times because of the division of time, that is tense,
Mm.
moods, aspects,
Mm.
and these aspects, moods have been marked in the suffixes. That means suffixes are undergone change
Mm.
times because of the 10 division of times and
Hmm.
because it is used by 9 persons, that means 3 person in three numbers. So 90 forms which has come used in the language, not with one verb, with all 2000 verbs indicate.
Yes, sir.
There is common rule used by the, because there is a finite set of rule which people are using for all 2000 routes.
Yes, sir.
Otherwise, you cannot get uniformly 90 forms in each route.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That shows data tells us the data is complete.
Yes, sir.
Data is complete because you get 90 forms
Yes, sir.
in 10 lakaras
Yes, sir.
and in a 3 person, 3 number, that is 9 suffixes.
Yes, sir.
So if the observation is adequate, if once you know the data is complete, then
Yes.
we analyze the data that how the data differs. So root is 1, suffixes are 9, but we get 90 forms. So
Yes,
there
sir.
is a relation between 9 to 90.
Yes, sir.
That indicate mathematically indicate that the 9 has undergone change 10 times.
Yes,
We
sir.
don't say 90s are different. Here the relation is 90 has is the outcome of the variation of 9 suffixes in 10 different ways or
Different way.
to a different pi. So there is a 9 suffixes, there are 90 forms, but root is 1.
Yes, root is
How
one, sir.
justify logically that from one root you can get 90 forms in Sanskrit?
Hmm.
Suppose, for example, okay. Now, if you take this 90 forms, first thing semantically you have to justify that this is correct.
Yes, sir.
90 is a fixed number for any verbal root. It
Yes,
is
sir.
not used for one dhatu, bhu, but it is all used for the 2000 roots.
Yes, sir.
So 2000 roots into 90 form each only in participable or active, for example, with you. Okay now? Now question is, a grammarian what he does? Grammarian will describe, this is called language processing, what we are talking today. So
Yes, sir.
language is used by the people, not arbitrarily, not according to our choice or wish. So there
Yes, sir.
are rules of the language which always help us or regulate the changes in the language.
Yes,
When
sir.
one person speak, other person understands. Even we do not know each other, we understand that there is something common.
Yes,
So
sir.
what is that common? So there is a, that is the rule. So there is a rule, there is a niyama that
Yes.
any language is used by a speaker must have followed these rules. There must be 3 persons.
Yes, sir.
There must be 3 speakers only, not many, for grammarian, for language. So 3 speakers in 2 numbers for Malayalam and 3 numbers for Sanskrit. So these numbers are fixed. So rule only tells only when there is a fixed elements. If it is not fixed, you cannot say no.
Yes, sir.
So to describe something, to make a data analysis proper, logical, and accountable, we are
Yes, sir.
not creating anything. We are only describing what is used by the people. So
Yes,
people
sir.
have followed the same rule. Otherwise, how they will understand? See, generally,
Yes.
always there is a difference. We know difference of opinion. Whether you take any science, whether physics, chemistry, maths, computer science, Indian science, what you call the social science, economics, politics, language also Sanskrit, Odia. In anybody studies anything, he wants to make a difference, saying that I am different from this. Okay. But this difference will be there. But for a scientist, for a grammarian, see, there is no difference in the inner self, in the inner rule of the language. So,
Yes,
rule
sir.
of the language is important. It is not the
Yes.
rule of the Panini. Panini has only described that there are specific rules used by the speakers, okay, to make a
Yes, sir.
difference in meaning, to make the
Yes,
communication effective. To
yes, sir.
make communication effective, it is not our choice or your choice, it is the choice of the language,
Yes.
language
Yes.
of the mind. So, mind is so perfect and particular. It always processes. It always used certain rules to communicate or to speak out. What we speak, not just that's why we think before you speak. You cannot
Yes, sir.
speak a single word, you cannot utter a single word without thinking. Now, what do you think? You think whether I should X with Y or Y with X. So, first, there is a Veda, a Veda. There is a distinction in between. So, everything is distinctively used, understood first. Then, these distinctive meanings, once they are understood, only the sound comes out.
Yes, sir.
Sound is only a product of meaning. You cannot utter any single sound without knowing what we are going to speak. So the grammarian tries to bridge the gap. What you think and what you speak, how it is
Yes, sir.
becoming meaningful. So these 10 lakaras used by Panini, so though they are semantically in 10 tenses, in three numbers, and in three persons, so 90 forms is sure. It is there is no need of any change. Nobody can question this. Since the
Yes,
system is fixed, the semantic or meaning relations are fixed. Now the question comes the change in the form. In place you have bhavati, then you get abhavat, sometimes you get babhuva in the same person. In first person singular, we have 10 forms. Suppose say bhavati, you get babhuva, lot, liti, lut is bhavita, root is bhavishyati, lot is bhavatu. Okay, then long is abhavat, then ling is bhavet, then vidiling, asiling is bhuyat, then we have lung is abhut, and rung is abhavishyat. In
yes, sir.
one person, we get 10 forms. So naturally, nine persons, nine number, three nine number, we'll get 94. So if we can explain this 10, then we can explain the rest. So the changes that have taken place in root and suffix, it is all because of the tense, moods, and aspects. If
Yes,
we know Bhavati is present, Babuba is what you call this lit, that is perfect. So tenses are times are divided first, and each division is described by him, Vartamane, Lat, Parokhe, Lit. For each division of meaning of tense, so Panini has makes specific rules. Otherwise, how do you know it is 10? So
yes,
10
sir.
sutras are there. The time division is made by 10 sutras are the proof pramana because meanings first classified by him.
Yes, sir.
Unless you classify, you do not know what is going where.
Yes,
So
sir.
one way, so the meaning classification is done, then accordingly the forms are described.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
now. So once we get that, so that is why the 10 divisions we have, so the changes, so all these changes are morphophonemic changes. What is
Yes,
morphophonic? What we call sandhi. That means when the root and suffix undergo change at different times, so different types of rules are used. So
yes,
if you
sir.
look at avati, you get bhu or ti, you get then guna because of the sardhat, vardhat, so guna. That technical also I will explain today. So what is happening? Now these are the forms used distinctively to get the meaning of any root. If you know one root, bhudhatu, if you know one, say, etadhatu that is given in our courses, it ensures you. If you understand these two roots and their formations, all the 2000 roots you can use without any mistake because this is mathematical. This is calculated.
Yes, sir.
Tenses 60. Now the divisions are 60. Only morphophonic changes only varies from root to root. That is, if you have bhudhatu only, you get guna, bhavati. If it is patadhatu, there is no guna,
Yes,
pathati, in
yes, sir.
bhavati. Now, why bhu? So, though we say guna and vriddhi, but that's why the condition is made iko guna vriddhi. So
Yes,
this
sir.
is what I am going to explain today. That all how one Satpati sir also asked how to read the sutras,
Yes, sir.
how to understand the sutras, because sutras are written in technical language, what we call the pratyaharas.
Yes, sir.
The pratyaharas are used, and at the same time, some technical terms are also used.
Yes, sir.
And along with the technical terms, there are also some technical rules.
Yes,
That
sir.
is, technical rules means this is what system he has built up. He has not simply given a rule, He has shown what are the how many rules are used, and how the rules are to be framed, how the rules are to be self-explanatory. If you
Yes.
write something, if I don't understand, then why we should read you? Nobody will read, no.
Yes, sir. Sir.
So even thousands of years, what we are doing, we are not able to read the script of the Indus Valley today till today. Why? Because script is something artificial made by the particular person, but language is not made by a person. Understanding is not made by a person. It is a natural. It is eternal. It is a
Yes.
natural process. So that is called natural language processing. Language is processed in the mind because there are natural rules inherent in our brain, in our mind. That is brain. Brain work with what? With rules, with logic. It is
Yes.
not Sanskrit or Odia or Hindi. It is the logic of the language. That's why this logic cannot be explained in natural language. Why? Because natural languages are ambiguous. Any word you use, you get some other meaning. But if it, that is why you use non-natural or artificial language, what we call also technical language. All these mathematical rules or mathematical solution, projection, all the mathematical books, what they are writing, only X, Y, Z, no.
Yes, sir.
There is no word used there, no.
Mm.
How it is possible? How do you understand? So meaning is such, understanding is such, something very, very abstract. But it is also very, very systematic.
Yes, sir.
The human mind works systematically. It understands everything logically, systematically. We do not understand that aspect of the language or science. We only talk of science means only physics or chemistry. Science is something that tells about how it is happening. So whatever is happening, whatever you are speaking, whatever you are seeing outside or inside, there is a change. How the
Sir.
changes are taking place. So language as such is a very abstract entity. It is a natural process. It is a eternal entity. It is not created by anybody. That is why we believe that language is the gift of God. Unless language means language which is natural language is the gift of God. We don't believe any other theory. There is no bobo theory, no ding dong, nothing. Because as you know,
Yes.
all these theories failed because they are very limited to a particular context, particular
Yes, sir.
time. But only language that everybody, this is called human language.
Yes,
Human
sir.
being has the language in our mind, but their language, it takes different forms at different places at different times. So it
Sir.
is only outside the change takes place, not inside. Inside rules are fixed for everybody. Everybody has the sentence, everybody has the agent, everybody has the karta kriya. Can you have a language without karta kriya? Possible?
No, sir.
Forms may be different. So the forms that we use in different language, the forms are different. Just like human beings. How many human beings? All human, we say one human being. No, it is a humanity. No, everybody has the same structure. Everybody has the same capacity, ability. But only we are not able to understand our ability. That's why we perform differently. That is why they
Yes.
are using a linguistic competence and performance. Everybody has the competence, but the performance differs.
Yes.
Everybody has the language, but the language forms differ. So that is what we are talking adequacy or why you need grammar. Grammar is not just literature. Grammar is only science because it talks in mathematical terms. That is how you get mathematics, you get computational, possible only because of the numbers, fixed numbers. So we have fixed set of rules and also fixed set of changes which have been accounted, explained with the logical process in a non-technical term or what we call the artificial term, language. What artificial language we use in our language? Nowadays they are using meta rule or meta language. What is meta language like metaphysics? Meta means which is not natural, which is artificial. But without artificial, you cannot explain natural thing because natural things are infinite. Only artificial things are limited, they are distinct. That so only those artificial elements or the symbols we are using in our, whether it is logic or maths or science, we are using only XYZ. To explain any scientific theory, you cannot use only words without explaining XYZ, without taking the help of XYZ. So the symbols which are used in describing, that is called the technical language. So that is why whether in linguistics, if you don't know this, we cannot understand mathematics or linguistics. So linguistics is very simple, very limited. Rules are there. Once the rules are, you say LPBP, we'll say X plus Y. That's all. This everything can be brought under X plus Y. So what is sentence? It is X plus Y. So this is how idea is that the concept of adequacy, that's why beginning I explained, the concept of linguistics developed in modern linguistics by Chomsky is nothing but what Panini has gone beyond this. That is language processing. It is processed with specific rules, and these rules are continued or used by every speaker unknowingly. So what we use, what is known to us, we do not know about you, how it is coming, from where it is coming. All words you are using only can be explained. You come to grammar, only tell you what is the difference between bhavati or bhavishyati, what is difference between jata hai or jati hai, what are the rules. So everywhere there are rules. All these rules used by Panini, types of rules used by Panini only generate forms for all the time. That's why Sanskrit language does not change. It is not the fault of the language or any such as we talk without understanding anything. A language which has been codified by grammatical rules. Panini has only described those codings. He has used, gone out beyond language, he has used meta language. He has used these pratyaharas. How to get pratyahara? So he has to only, though element materials are natural, the sounds we produce. So the same sounds we produce, he has classified in the Shiva Sutras. After classification, based on their qualities, voiced, unvoiced, aspirate, unaspirate, alpa prana, mahaprana, ghosa, aghosa, whatever we say in Sanskrit, our same way is there in English, there is no extra. Linguistics is following the same classification. I told you in the beginning, there is a book called Ancient Indian Phonetics by Allen. If you read that, we must have our own knowledge system first, how our sounds are described in our own language. We should know. So it's because somebody said, oh, whether it is Sanskrit, or it is forget about whether it is Sanskrit or not, it is not question. Question is from where these sounds are coming, how they are coming, when do they change. So to explain these changes in the language, which are infinite, whether it is morphological form, whether it is syntactic form, whether it is a lexical form, changes are many. So they are trying to classify into morpheme, morphology, what we had already talked about, prakriti and pratyaya. Similarly, you have word structure, you have a primary derivative, secondary derivative. We say it is in Krudanta and Tadita, inflectional, derivational, so Tinganta and Krudanta. Tinganta is inflectional, Krudanta is derivative. These classifications, these distinctive divisions in the language forms used by the people, used in that language, has been accounted adequately by Panini's grammar. I had told you that before Panini there were around 10 grammarians whom he referred only on variation, only a particular context. And after him also another 10 schools which are no one is existing. Why? So we must know that it is not that Panini stopped them because he was there in 5th century BC. If you are studying linguistics, why you read Chomsky only? Why you from structuralist you go to generative? Because you want more explanation, you want more justification. You want to clarify more doubts, to get clarity. You need adequate knowledge. You need a book, you need a system which can explain you everything. So there is no grammar before Panini or after Panini in Sanskrit which can explain these computational or mathematical aspect of the language processing. They are only simply cutting this cut short and trying to make you, just like we are reading in school grammar, making cut short and take, oh, just learn this, like in English, prescriptive grammar. Just learn this. You don't understand anything. Grammar of fun is not just to learn like that. Unless you know the system, unless we know the method, we will not be able to explain anything. So the concept of language infinite, the forms. That is why Patanjali has described language. Panini has not said anything, nothing. Only has used rules. Only has classified the forms. Only has used the technical terms. Only has used the pratyahara or the sutras only in sentence forms. So that is why to read any sutra, to understand the changes in the language, why Panini sutras are important, why it is computable, why it is mathematically designed, these all explanations are only there only if we understand these rules he has used in the language, the way he has used and the way he has formed, the words he has used are most very, very technical. And all the words he has used in the sutras are very, very technical. And he has so used so logically. So these are encoded, so we are not able to understand. We are not able to understand because we don't know the language fully. Patanjali wrote the Mahabhasya. Why? Because what Pandin wrote in the Sutra, Ikojanati, Vruddhiradich, there is no example, no explanation. So when Patanjali wrote in 2nd century BC Mahabhasya, only he wanted to explain that whatever is used, whatever is there in the sutras are meaningful. You cannot change even one matra in that sutra. The sutras which are used by Panini in 5000 years before are still remain unchanged. There is no grammar, there is no sign, there is no philosophy, no philosopher, no grammarian, no linguist has come to change even a single word. Because Patanjali made an explanation and gave the idea how these forms used in the language are justified by Panini's terminology. The terminology he has used in the language, whether it is Parivar, what do you call this? So there are called 6 types of rules in Panini's grammar. 6 types of rules. So whenever the rules are there, all are not of the same nature. The 6 types, it is all tradition. Pani does not say anything. He is only tradition, has tried to explain, starting with Patanjali. What is that? So there are 6 types of rules. So first thing, Patanjali outlines what is the necessity of grammar and what is the limit of the grammar, the object, the scope of grammar. So about the utility, he has said, रक्षा रक्षार्थम अध्ययन रक्षा उग आगम लघु असंदेहार्थम व्याकरण. Grammar is used only to protect the ancient literature. Rakshartham, Adhyayam Vyakaranam. Uha means where there is a change, there is some modification, it should be explained. Agama, again insertions, and it should be Lagu, shortest. And Asandeha, doubtless. These are the 5 utilities of grammar given by Patanjali in his Mahabhasya. Patanjali, Panini does not say anything about grammar. He doesn't use the word Vyakarana. He doesn't use the word, no word, only sutra, the pratyahara thing. So that is where the scope of the grammar is Lakshya, Lakshanam, Vyakara. Lakshya is the data, language used by the, what you call this, the spoken language. Language used by the people are the data. And this data has been explained by him with particular rules, he said Lakshana. If your Lakshana, the definition, the rule, goes with the data that can describe the data properly, then it is a proper grammar. What we call a good grammar, best grammar, or adequate grammar, it is only applicable to Panini's grammar. Why? Because whatever language has changed, Sanskrit diversely changed. In 10 lakaras, again with Krudanta, Tadita, Subanta, you have Sananta, so many things. I have shown you. This is just on a trailer, Madri. I have just shown you what thing changed takes place. In spite of all the diverse changes in a language, he is able to give a fixed rules of 4,000 rules in 8 chapters to explain each and every variation that is you find in the Sanskrit language. That's why it is adequate. So now this adequacy is justified, is understood. That is why Chomsky has said Panini's grammar first generative grammar. His grammar is still not been, he is still trying. I am only comparing, telling that what the language he has used is generative grammar is not new today. How it is generative grammar? So it is because of this, because it is a fixed set of rules, finite set of rules, explain the infinite set of forms in a language. That is why that way is grammar. Now, how it is become application to universal? Because the rules of the language, which computer now creates or generates form, how it is possible? So his rules are of this nature. These rules he has framed so technically, so artificial language, we call the meta language. So the rules are used with pratyaharas, which are meta language, which are also used now, with certain technical terms like I will be explaining today. This is T, Gu, Bha, Upadha. We had seen this. So what is happening? So he has used rules in a very technical way, in a more logical manner, and it is so scientific that we are not able to find any fault or any exceptions in Sanskrit language. We find exception when you come to modern languages, which have changed with a different context in different conditions, but structurally, structurally, it remains same. That's why it represents the mental grammar, the grammar of the mind. Panini talks the grammar of the mind. He tells how brain language processed in the brain. This is language process. You get, I showed you, know, you take one from Bhavati. How many rules are applied? Where you will get this? There is no grammar in the world which will give you the process of formation of a particular word. Just imagine. When you take Bhavati, how many rules are applied? And for like that, for each form, 2000 rules. For each word in Sanskrit, you get some, they are derived through a particular process with specific rules. So there is no word which is idiomatic or very much in the grammar. That's why idiom is not a part of the grammar. That's why what you call this Rudi, that is what we call the Rudi. Rudi is not a part of the grammar because these are fixed in lexicalized certain meanings. But the process which is involved, grammar only explains the process of the language, how language is processed in the mind, what type of rules are used in the mind. Okay, so these things we have to always keep it. How language is processed in the mind, how Panini has developed that process, how he has explained in his specific rules that the changes that you find in Sanskrit language in many fold are explainable, are accountable by Panini's rules. So that's why there is no exception. That is why it is called a complete grammar. Complete as far as the Sanskrit is concerned. Complete. Because all commentators in all the Shastras of Sanskrit, Nyaya, Mimamsa, that also we'll be doing sometime, I will give you the introduction of what is Nyaya, what is Mimamsa, the philosophical aspects, and how all these Shastrakaras have followed only Panini's rules. Why? To write Nyaya, to write the Mimamsa, anything they write, the sutras, they follow the sutras of Panini. The sutra. Tradition starts with Panini. They have all Vatsayana, you get the Nyaya Sutra, Gautama Nyaya Sutra, Jaimini, Mimamsa Sutra. So all Sutrakaras all follow the only grammatical rules of Panini. How? Why? Because they are adequate to explain the meaning differences, whether it is in philosophy or grammar or science. Every place, even in mathematics, in Aryabhata, Lilavati, all those who have written the text in Sanskrit, all follow Panini's rule. Why? Because they are not only precise, logical, but also adequate to explain the meaning of the words. All the commentators of all the Shastras in Sanskrit, thousands of literature, We have documented 42 volumes for Sanskrit works written ever have been documented. That speaks, that speaks the importance, the use, the necessity, the need of a grammar. You read Chomsky for modern language because it tells you something that is not available everywhere. If you read Panini, you will find that you will not get anywhere. Because we have to understand the system, why it is taken together parallel, because the way the method is available to us in computation or in linguistics is very much present in Panini system. And Panini uses only for Indian languages first in Sanskrit, which is connected with most of our languages, the words which are using, we are used, at least we will be more familiar than using English words, because our words are all inflectional. So that is why to describe this language of Sanskrit, Panini has used these rules. How he made these rules, how he has used, why we are still following after it. So that is why there are five types of rules described by the commentator, starting with Patanjali. So these rules, 4,000 rules, can be one as Sanghya rule. Sanghya means the name. So whatever you technically, you say X, no, what is X? So then you give a description. Oh, this is called X. You have to say no. This is called Y. What is Y? You have to say, oh, this is Y. So then only you can say X and Y are related or not, X plus Y or X minus Y. So the unless we fixed a limit, unless we fixed a language, will not be explained the context. So that is why the rules of Panini, you find five types. One is Sanghya. Sanghya means the designations. Designations or class names given to particular group of whether it's letters or words or sounds. Okay, so this is called the Sanghya rules. So the first sutra of Ashtadhyayi is Vriddhiradi. Vriddhi is a Sanghya. What is Vriddhi? He says A, O, E and O. So three sounds A, O, E and O he has named as Vriddhi. Why? Because these three sounds are peculiar changes in the language, in the vowels. Among the vowels, there are different types of vowels and different types of changes. How many changes? That also will be showing the so of this nature only. So one is Sanja, name we give, Vriddhi, Guna, Rajpadika. These are what? They are all Sangya. Sarvanama. Sangya means we give a name or category, particular category of words or suffixes or sounds even. So A, O, E, O are the three sounds called always Vriddhi sounds. So that means they are not original. They are outcome of certain combinations. Whether it is O plus O or O becomes A, okay, or E becomes A, Guna, or E becomes Oi, it is Vriddhi. In this way, three changes are found in these vowels. So one is Vriddhi, another is called Guna, Adenguna, A, A, O. Out of this, you look Aon, Ayoj, you get Guna, Vriddhi, then Savarna, Dirgha. So these are the rules, so types of changes. So that's why Sankhya is one type of rules we describe, designate the category of words or sounds. Then these Sankhya's which are used by Panini, then how do you understand this? So that's why these are called the Sankhya Paribhasa. Paribhasa, again, Panini has not used Paribhasa. Panini has used the sutras which are called Paribhasa in the tradition, that is starting from Patanjali. Paribhasa means which is present everywhere. Parita bhasate. Can you please just check it? Just can you show the next slide? So parita bhasate. That means a sound. No, 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 little. Okay, this is coming one. I will coming to that. So what we are showing that is paribhasa means rule that interprets. That's why we call the rules of interpretation, which are called meta rules. Meta rules because these are used with meta language. So when you say, so we'll be showing that, I'll be explaining again. So meta rules are those rules which are used to interpret Panini's rules, the Sankhya rules. So the changes that have taken place in a language, we should understand some are sangyas, name of certain categories, and these name of the categories are again explained or interpreted, understood with the help of other rules given by Panini. Okay, these are called the meta rules or parivarsha rules. So, far the meta rules is concerned, we have actually I have two things that I have to present you today and tomorrow. Like this is technique that he has made certain rules which are called Sanghya rules like Vriddhi, Guna, Sarvanama, Pratipadika, Dhatu, Pada, Siddha, Asiddha, Ti, Ghu, that we are going to. These are the terms he has used in the sutras. What do they mean? Where they are used? So these sutras taken together. So one is called the Sanghya rules, rules which describe or designate particular category of sounds or words. And second is Paribhasa rule, which is used to interpret the other rule. When you say Bruddhi Radhi, how do you know it? Bruddhi means what? So Bruddhi is used in Pratama, which indicates Bruddhi consists of A, I, and O. So Pratham Vyakti used for identity. Ramaha, Chikitsakaha. Ram is a doctor. What do you understand? How do you understand? Because Samana Adhikaran. They represent one and the same thing. So when you say Bruddhi means A, I, O. So Vriddhi is a name given to these three sounds which come in the morphophonemic changes. Sankhya. Now how do so those things when you interpret. So how to interpret that? So these are the rules called Paribhasa rules. So Sankhya rules, but to explain those sutras, Panini has used Paribhasa rules or meta rules. Meta rules mean used for interpretation of the natural language. Sankhya, Paribhasa. Sankhya cha Paribhasa. Then you get Vidhi rules. Vidhi means it should be done in these places. It should be treated like this. So we have the sutra I had explained in Samartha Pada Vidhi. Whenever you talk of a Pada, Pada means what? So he has given Subtingantam Pada. It's called Pada Vidhi. Pada means Subanta or Tinganta. That means when you say Ramaha Gachati, it is also Subanta na, and Tinganta. It is also Pada Vidhi. When you say Ragyaha Purusha, it is also Padavidhi because Vibhakti is used there. Ragyaha Purushaha Raja Purushaha. And even you are using, suppose you get Pada, so other Gachati, Putra Kamyati, etc. etc. So there are various ways these Padas have been used. So that is why to understand these Padas, so you have to understand them. So he will say that, so these are the rules. Samartha Padavidhi represents three types of constructions, three levels of construction. This is explained by Patanjali. Panini has simply used Samartha Padavidhi. So when there is a Pada, so our the grammatical terms used with vibhaktis, Subanta or Tinganta. Only Ramaha Gachati can make a sentence. Only Rajapurusha can make a sentence. Rakyaha Purusha. So whenever the words are used in a sentence, they represent three levels. One is the Padavidhi represents three levels of the language. One is Padasya Vidhi. How do you get Subanta? How do you get Ramaha? It is Padavidhi. One Pada. How do you get Gachati? It is also one Pada. This is Padavidhi. How Ting and Suk are used with a word. It is one level. Grammar describes this Padavidhi. Then when the two padas join together, when it's a Raja Purusha, two sups are joining together, two nouns are joining. This is also Padavidhi. Both are Subanta. So when it's Padavidhi, it represents compound. So for first, it is Padasya Vidhi, how one pada is derived. Padayo Vidhi represents compound. When two nouns are joined together, two padas are joining together, it is called Padayo Divaja. So Padayo Vidhi, Padavidhi, and Padanang Vidhi. Padanang Vidhi, where many padas are used in the sentence. So word, compound, and sentence. These are the three levels of derivations, which are covered by one rule, Samartha Padavidhi. He has simply used Padavidhi. But these Padavidhi represent three levels of structures or constructions. So that's why it is called it's a rule. What kind of rule? This is called Vidhi. Vidhi means any word you get in a language must be any of the three varieties. so that you can understand what is the common behind them. There must be samartha, competency, meaningful. You cannot just derive any word with any suffix. If it is prathama only, you will use gachati. If it is ditya only, sorry, I mean first person you will say gachati. If it is second person, it is gachasi. If it is I, then it will be gachami. Because they are fixed in their meanings. So Paribhasha rules tells us that whenever you are using a rule, it helps you to understand what Panini has said in the other rule, Sanghya rules. I'll be giving these rules again. So Sanghya, Paribhasha, Vidhi. Another is Niyama. What is Niyama? So Niyama is you can enter the house but not to my bedroom. You are saying no. So there is a Niyama. What is Niyama? You can enter to my house but not to the bedroom. I have told you to come to my house, not to my bedroom. So what is happening? Whenever a statement is made, it is restricted. Niyama is restriction. So this, I had given you the example, all the sutras, all the halant, pratyas, halantyam sutra 133, which tells all the consonants of a pratyaya, consonant ending, halantyam, antya hal. In all the suffixes, the antya hal is deleted. Halantyam tells that all the final consonants of suffixes are deleted. In general, it is a general rule. But the next rule says na vibhakto tu sma 134. 133 tells you that halantyam means all the consonants of a final consonants of a suffix is deleted. But it is not applicable with the sup and thing vibhakti. That means na vibhakto. Vibhakti means again here put sup and thing. Sup and thing are called vibhaktis. So here sutra vibhaktischa. Why? Because in this sup and thing, the final consonants are not deleted. Suppose when you say Rama, so is there, it is a final consonant, but it is not lopa. If it is lopa, you cannot get Rama. Like in verb you see, agachat. If to is consonant ending, no? Yeah, just thank you, thank you, thank you. So this is what, this meta, what you call this meta language, I have just to try to, going to explain. I will sending, oh, you are getting PPT. I'm just explaining so that you should know what is remaining, how it is framed, the technique of making rules, the types of rules. So that is Vidhi rule. So and then you have this Sangya, Paribhasa, Vidhi, Niyama, then na vibhaktu tusma. Okay, then you get this Adhikara. Adhikara means you say no Pratyaya. So it starts with 311. It goes to 54160, end of fifth chapter. You get all what is described is called Pratyaya. All the pratyaya, he denotes every time X is a pratyaya, Y is a, like that, like that. No, he starts with pratyaya 311, goes to 54160. Three chapters completely represent or described with different types of pratyayas used in the language. So it is pratyaya adhikara. So that's why he has used the word adhikara and he has defined the sutra, tena adhikara. These are called paribhasha rules. I'll be trying to give you one by one. Now this meta language, it is all today is free, open to explain everything openly. But the technique we had seen only one aspect is this, what you call this, anubandhas. Today we are seeing now, suppose paribhasa. Why this paribhasa tradition makes use of what linguist is doing now? So let us see this. What is meta language and what is meta rules? We have two types of things in Panini system. Linguistics use indirectly. We are using directly. Panini has used directly two types of meta rules. Sorry, two types of meta language and meta rules. What is meta language? This meta language is called the technical terms. In tradition, it is called paribhasika shabda. Shabdas which are paribhasika. Paribhasika means always which are fixed in their meaning, technical. Paribhasa is a technical. Paribhasa is a technical rule. Paribhasika shabdas, the words used, these are called paribhasika shabdas. I'll be giving examples. Meta language, it has two types, technical terms, paribhasa shabdas. These terms are of two types, always remember. See this. Panini has clearly, categorically distinguished the forms. What is meta language or what is paribhashika shabda? You should look at this. These terms of two types. One is artificial, which is kritrima. Traditions explain. Panini does not use any word. He has only simply said tea or gu. What is tea and gu? Who will understand? So commentators have given explanation that tea is a so one is artificial or krutrima like tea, gu, bha, anga. We have seen bha, sarvdhatuka, ardhatuka. These are technical. These are not used in the ordinary language. This is used by the grammarian to explain the manifold changes in the language within the language. So these are the terms which are artificial. He has created. Even sarvadhatuka adhika, you can understand some meaning sarva and adhuka. But ti, gu, bha, you cannot understand anything. The another is natural or prakriti or akrutrima. Akrutrima means krutrima is always artificial. Akrutrima is natural, not artificial. So artificial language, what is using today? So T, Gu, Bha, these are the artificials, Krutrima sabdas used by Panini. And the natural, which words are like Siddha, Pratipadika, Dhatu. You know at least, we know at least. Okay, Dhatu is this root. For tea, you cannot understand unless you go to the technique of what is tea. That I will be explaining. How he has used tea, where he has used tea. I will be giving. And this will be also, you will get the answer of this lakaras, Atmanipada, Parasmanipada, and also teeth lakara, long lak, git lakara. These difference also, all this will explain you why he has made so many ways and how they are explained by these rules. And these terms are important. So teeth, that's why you will getting that. So artificial and prakritika means natural. Words like siddha, rajpadika, dhatu, tadhita, samasa, etc. Yes, because samasa is used first in grammar by Panini only, no other grammar. Samasa words were used in the Bruhat Sangita, in the Sangita Pathas, in Sangitas, but they were not described or defined. Panini brought them words known to people. He has tried to maximum use so that people can follow it easily. So, but he has defined them. He has described them. What is samasa? What is karaka? What is vibhakti? When you use them. So he has brought them under the use of the grammar. That is important. Even language were used before him. The words were used before in Sangitas, in Pratisakyas. These words he has taken for the sake of clarity. So people are using, they should know. But what is the samasa? He is only explaining. What is the karaka? Bhukti. So natural like is tadita samasa. Etc. Yes, please. Next, please. Next, just so. Now, I have given some examples. Now, what is Sanghya? As I told you, these are the technical rules. What is Sanghya using? Acho antyadi T. So, I am explaining with the T Sanghya. What is T? He has given a rule, 1164. So, T means, what is that T? So, a sound that is used in the language or a vowel, acha. Every sound is not T. So, acha means vowel. So, acha means, as I told you, that ach means ajanta. Here, ach means the vowel antyadi. Antya. If you have a word, the final vowel of a word, final vowel, only, antya. So final vowel, look at this meaning is, there are two aspects. The final vowel plus any following consonants of a form. I will give you the examples. So where it is here? So there is a portion of the word which is generally deleted. This portion can be a final vowel or any other sound following the final vowel because you cannot get two vowels at a time. The final vowel of a word or a consonant following the final vowels are deleted. I'll give one example. You know, Rajan Shabdo, you get Raja. When you get Rajan, so no goes, o goes. Then you add suffix, you get Raja. Vruddhi text, something. Next stage. So many of the words, when you are using, what happens? They either the final vowel or the consonant along with the final vowel gets deleted. then how you are going to tackle it in the grammar, how to make a rule. So these type of changes are not once or twice. It is very regular in many contexts, particularly in the word formation, in the word derivation of tadita, you get this type of changes. So these changes, which are the final vowel of a word or the final vowel along with the following consonant. It can be one consonant, it can be two consonant also. Doesn't matter. Anything that follows final vowel is called, he gives a name, T Sanjay. Otherwise, every time you have to explain, no, this sound with this. So this T represents the final vowel plus any following consonants of a form. Where is the scope? Now just she told you, no, she asked us, why teeth and git lakara? In the, so there is a sutra, look at this. So this sutra is 3479. Tita atmane padanam tere. I have split here, titaha atmane padanam tehe ehe. So here there are, see this, tit means tit lakarasya. Titaha. I had told you earlier, I will again explaining. We have, then how do you know titaha means what? Because titaha is used here Sasti Vibhakti. Titti. Titti lakara, tit pratyaya. Titaha here, tit lakarasya. Why? Because how do you know? Because you're coming atpane pada. Atpane padana. In the tit lakara, in the atpane pada forms, not parasmay pada. Why is putting Atmana Pradhanam? Because in Parashva it does not tell. Look at this. Any word used in a sutra tells you the other aspect of it. The explanation is so when it's acha antya diti mean only antya acha is ti, not other vowels. So titaha, it is Sashti Bhakti, the sutra we are going to explain. Already I told you Sashti Thana Yoga. So titaha means titlakarasya. Which titlakara? Atmane Padana. Because we have lakaras both in Parasmita and Atmanapada, and we have two types of lakara, the tit lakara and git lakara. So that means he is telling only in the Atmanapada dhatus or in Atmanapada suffixes, in the tit lakaras, not in git lakara. So two things you are getting. By saying titaha tit lakara, that means it is not applicable to git lakara. And Atmanapadana means not applicable to Parasmita. I will give examples, so you will see here. So what happens? The tehe. Tehe means again Sashti Vibhakti. Tehe means takarasya. Or the tehe means here it is not takara. The T means the antya ach and the consonant. Final vowel. Here T means the final vowel. Tehe. T, that's why he used T. T means Sashti Muni Munehe. T, tehe. Same Vibhakti is used. But the same way. If it is Harsva Ikaranta Munehe, you get T means Tehe. So Tehe means T Sanghya Kasya. That one, the final vowel or its following consonant, which are called T. That T gets Tehe. What happens? Ehe. T becomes A. So the final vowel or along with the consonants becomes A. So we have the form, no, edote. Look at this, I just explained. The substitute replaces the last vowel with the consonant following it of the Atmanapada substitutes of that lakara which ends in T. Here it is lot, itaha. Example, look at the edote. So what is happening? If it is bhavati, bhavati is also tit lakara, but it is parasmay pada. Edadhatu is always Atmanapada. Because certain dhatus are only Atmanapadas and certain dhatus are both Parasmata and Atmanapada, which is called Ubhayapati. Now Atmanapada suffix is always you get this te. Now what is difference? Now in Bhavati, E is there, T is the suffix. Suodos, Amotsos, Tabhyang, sorry, To Atang, Tiptas, Ji, Siptas, Mibas, Mas for the Parasmapada, To Atang, Jothas, Atang, Eat, Boing, Mine for Atmanapada. 9 plus 9, 18 suffixes. Now the suffix in Atmanapada is to atang jo. So first person singular suffix is to. The dhatu is edha. So edha dhatu is always Atmanapada. How do we know? Now, there is another sutra to indeed say that this is Atmanepada. That day also I had explained. Again, I will be giving here just to repeat to find out. So, Edadhatu is Atmanepada. How do you know? Because it is used with Anudata, Edha, Akaranta. In Pata, it is Halant. In Vu, it is Akar. But in Edha, it is Anudateta. If it is Dhatu, is Anudata. So, there is a sutra by Panini. Anudata Gitam Atmanepadam. Dhatus having anudata or ngit, they are always atmanepada, means they take atmanepada suffixes. So edha vruddhau in the dhatu part. So in the dhatu part, all the roots are given with anubandha as well as swara. The udatta, anudatta, swarita, which are not used in the classical language, but Panini has used them in the dhatu part to indicate the changes that you are going in the language are very necessary, very important. That's why he has marked them in the Dhatu Patha only. So in the Dhatu Patha, all the roots are marked with accent as well with Anubandhas. So keeping that in mind, he has made the sutra here. What is that? So if the sutra is Anudata, it takes Atmanepada. So Edha Dhatu is Anudatita. So Edha. It is not Ed. It is Edha. Okay, so then you take Katrisab and to is the suffix in Atmanapa. To atangcho. So to becomes te. Actually, the form is edhata in Atmanepada, but because it is tit lakara, it is in present tense, it is in first person, the o of to becomes a. So you get edhate. Edhote. How it is possible? Look at this. First thing, he has given the rule. If it is anudateto gita atmane padam, sutra is there, which I had given you. I'll be again showing you. If it is anudateto, it should take atmanepada. So if edha is atmanepada, it is anudateto by the sutra. That's why it is paribhasa rule. Anudata sutra is a paribhasa rule which says that if dhatu is anudateta, and how do you know it is into dhatu pata? He has given, Pandya has given. It is not that he is telling you should search. Not necessarily. He has given in dhatu patas. So anudata dhatu gets top. So edha plus top. And because of kartari sab, vartamana, you get sab, edha top. But instead of edhata, what we get the form is actually edhate. So O has become A. So here is a change in the usage, in the language. The ta pratyaya has become A at the end. The final vowel has become A. This is tehe etom. What is T here? The final vowel. So edhate. Now in another condition he has given, if it is vowel with a consonant also. If a vowel with consonant, now first thing look at this. In edhate you have said the T becomes A, the O becomes A if it is a teeth lakara. How do you know? Now if you go to Ngit lakara, this eto is, you will never find A anywhere. If you take the first long lakara, first person, singular, it is aidhata. So there is no A. So that's why I put see the condition. Seeing the 18 forms or seeing all the 90 forms, he has classified teeth and git. Why? If it teeth lakara only, he can apply directly. Teeth lakare tehe etom. Git lakare no. Teeth lakare atmanepadasya teeth lakare only tehe etom. Not in parasmipada. So bhavati abhavat. So there is no eto in parasmipada. So look, every sutra explains you both past and present. The change that takes place, the sutras are not one-sided. They represent both. By negation, you get the rest answers. So whatever word is used in a sutra explains both sides. Okay, it explains both sides. Look, so that's why edhate. And if you take the divachana is to atam jo. This divachana is atam. So edha of atam. But the form is edhetam. Now what happens first? So in the first, in atam, am is the last, final vowel plus consonant, am. So atam becomes ate. By this rule, edhate, it should have been edhotam, but instead of edhotam, you get edhete. So am becomes a. So ate, then edha plus ate, you get, it should be edhate. But there is another rule applied that this a becomes e only in this lakara. So we have another sutra is there. So which say the form is actually edhete. Atongita sutra is there. So what is happening here? This edhete t. Here the t is am. Edha atam. Atam become ate. Here the t is the final vowel plus consonant. Ma am. So am has become a. So you get a j t. Okay. So next please one more I will just show you. So what is happening? Next please. Just to one is enough. Just look at the t. How t is applied. So T is not used by in the language. It is technically devised by Panini. That's why it is a meta language. Why do you need? Because there are certain changes which cannot be explained in natural words. You can answer Antya. Antya means can be anything, no? It can be vowel or it can be consonant. But vowel with consonant, how you are going to explain that? So he makes it T. So T is a technical term, a meta language, used by Panini to explain the changes in the final ending of a word. So in this case, that's why you need tit lakara and git lakara, you can very well, because there are formal changes. Why is my titi? Because tit lakara forms are one type, git lakara forms are other type. Same root, same suffix. When they undergo change, because people have made the difference between past and present. They have made the remote past, they have made the recent past, they have made also just immediate past. Three past tenses are there, two futures are there. For each one, the form only has changed. But these changes which have come within the language, but look at this, he is using in terms of teeth, lakara. That means apply to all the dhatus. Generative. Ita atmanapadanam ter. Kuncham, just goes back please. Go back please. So if you just see one sutra, Achontiyaditi tells you. The first one. Just one example I am giving here. So this is T. Just imagine. Why you would need T? If T is not there, how you are going, how many things you are going to explain? You know everywhere it is happening. So one sutra, this is called Acho Antyaditi. This is a Paribhasa Sutra because it helps you. Wherever there is a T lopo, only Antya At should be understood. And this only tells us, and because the word T itself is very technical. Why you need? Because with T only we can explain all changes. In whole teeth lakara, you will find te, ate, ante, even adhante, plural also. Anta suffix, you get adhante. It will go with any labhate, labhete, labhante. Take labdhati is also atmanepada. So one way, if you know the accent of the dhatu, you can make it atmanepada. Or if there is an atmanepada, from that you should know this dhatu must be anudhate. So the forms which are used diversely within 2000 rules, changes have been captured very technically. Without T, how we are going to explain? This is the beauty of Panini's grammar. The label he has got, the deep label he has got, how much he must have observed, how many changes he must have seen. Because Laksha Lakshanam Vyakaranam, Patanjali is unable to change the sutras when he is writing Mahavasya. He gives Laksha Lakshanam, why you see the Lakshana, Laksha, then you take the, think of this Lakshana. Sutra is only Lakshana. Sutra is only defines. Lakshate anena Lakshana, by which everything is indicated, everything is explained. Ito Atmanapadanam Tere explains everything, goes with the 2000 roots in Atmanapada. Which are our Atmanapada? You will never find any change. There is no exception. Tilde. So whatever used in any shastra in Sanskrit, Ayo, Vivakta Vedan. And because of this, they are able to explain difference in meanings in philosophy. Philosophy commentator interpret only with the help of Panini, give different meanings and may elaborate like anything. So that is how these technical terms, we call a meta language. So T is a meta language. The term is not used in the natural language. And Achohatyaditi is a definition. It is a paribhasa. It explains what is T, Acho Antyadi. Antya ach of a pada, of a word form is T, which undergo change. Here it is a T become A. In some places, T also is lopa. Bhasya T lopa. That is, there is, when you say gargya, garga plus ya suffix is there. Young. Garga dibya, young. Garga plus young. Ya is there. So if ya follows, there is a sutra. Just please, next slide. One only example I will give you. If you see this, no, it is good. Next, please, bha. Bha. Can you go to bha? Next. Yachibham. So here, what is the gargya? This is garga plus ya suffix. The final O of garga is called T. Even in Tadhita usages, this T lopa takes place. Final of the stem, that is garga, this way, is bham. So another name he has given bha, and which is deleted by Yasya teacher. So T lopa, bha is also another term. It has another condition where it is applied. So many words, because in word derivation, the morphophonemic changes takes place in various levels. Sometimes between Prakriti and Pratyaya, sometimes within Prakriti itself. I had given you example of Dasarathi, no? The past, it is always in Tadhita forms, in derivation of Tadhita forms, what happens? The first vowel of a word is always lengthened, dirgha. Tadhiteshu acham ade. In Tadhita suffix, if the Tadhita suffixes are used, which is Gitte or Anitte, so Dasaratha Iya Pratyaya. So if Dasaratha become Dasarathi, so this first A is lengthened. In Tadhita, the first. So Jirga takes place only when it is A plus O, no? Or Bruddhi takes place when there is a plus A, no? But there are also Bruddhis, that is called Upada Bruddhi. So Adecha, Upadese. So when Upadesha it is given, this Adi Bruddhi takes place in Tadhita formation. Adi Vriddhi. So it is not the O plus or. So morphophonemic changes, Sandhi rules are applied between Prakriti and Pratyaya, or even with the Prakriti itself, the change undergoes change. Like from Bhu, you get a Bho, from Bho, you get a Bhaba, then you get Bhavati. So Bhaba, to get Bhaba, you need 3-4 rules. And then with Ti, if it is present, you get Ti. If it is past, you get Iti, Abhavat. O is added, E is Lopa. So this is how the technical terms used by Bha, another word he has used, this will be given to PPT forms. I am only trying to show that these are called the meta languages. They are meta languages, the words which are coined by Panini to explain the morphophonical changes in exceptional cases. Generally, you have Savana Dirga, generally, you have Ikoguna Bruddhi. All the general rules are there. These are also, Ikoguna Bruddhi is also Paribhasa rule. Wherever there is Iko only, Guna Bruddhi will take place. So, whenever applications are made, each application is conditioned by another sutra. So, sutras when used by, so that's why Sanghya rules and Paribhasa rules are very close. And Paribhasa rules always explain how to interpret the sutra. That's why we had given a titaha, sashti. How do you sashti? So sashti sthana. Can you just go to one rule, please? Okay. So this is what the technical terms used by sarvadhatuka ardhatu. What is happening here with this one? I will explain. We'll stop it. So what is happening sarvadhatuka ardhatu? Why you need Now, these are the divisions of verbal suffixes. It's a division of verbal suffixes only. The verbal endings, thing, okay? Thing means both person, artha, suffixes. When they are used with the verbs, they are used in two ways. What is two ways? Now, if you look in bhavati and bhavishyati, in bhavati there is a, bhavati, bhavati. In bhavishyati, co is added. So there is a sutra in in the root lakara, root in all dhatus. So there is a sutra which says co and tas. Co and tas are two agamas for the two lakaras, root and room. Root means first future, bhavishyati. And room means the conditional tense, abhavishyat. And tas is used for lot, bhavita. So there are certain lokaras like root and room. So he has taken one word root to indicate both root and room. They take sya, agama. And tas counts for the lot, bhavita. Now, in these three lakaras, in tit, there are two root and room. So, ru lakara he has put is Shetasi, ru luto. Ru means root and room both. To make both, he has made it ru. So, indicate that it represents both root and room. That is bhavishyati and abhavishyat. Karishyati, akarishyat. Patishyati, apatishyat. Conditional. Apatishyati, conditional. Karishyati means first future. So the CO is added in the true rule lakaras. Where now before the, look at this. The CO, so that's why CO and tas, they are the agamas. Agama means insertion. You are inserting another suffix in between root and the verbal ending. Bhavati, bhuti, and in between you are adding CO, then only you get bhavishyati. So what about the CO? So apart from main root and the verbal endings, in some lakaras are distinguished in terms of their agamas. So to make a difference between bhavati, so past, present and the future, so difference is only in the form, that is co is added. Co is added, that's why it's a ru lutoho. In the ru lakara, root and room and root lakara, you get co and tas. Agamas are there. Clear. So one sutra says Shetasi, co and tas, ru lutoho. So ru, so if it is ru, you get sya. If it is lut, you get tas. So one is bhavishyati. Now, what is happening? What is the difference? So the main case and verbal endings are actually the original suffixes, because when they are used only, you can add agama. Agama cannot come of its own. It comes always in between root and the suffix. So bhu, shya and ti. So this shya, which is not thing, then what you will call it? So this type of suffixes. So dhatu has basically bhu, the dhatu and the thing. Thing are the verbal endings. Thing are the verbal endings. But in between root and the verbal endings, sometimes other suffixes are used as agama to distinguish the lokara different to lokaras. These distinguished suffixes, which are called agamas, which are inserted between root and suffix, are called these agamas, and this type of suffixes are called different from the ti. So that is why he said thing and sit called sarvadhatukam. So he makes a division of verbal suffixes. Some are thing, which are original with all the dhatus in all the lakaras. They are common. The person, number, gender, that is common to all lakaras. And they come with a suffix called sap and in the present bhavati, And if in future, you get syo. So syo is only limited to future. It's a niyama. Syo is used for future only. In all other lakaras, it is not there. So only two lakaras, that is ru and lut. So that is why, so this ting and sit, sub agama, where it is common present, they are called sarvadhatu. So in the dhatu adhikara, you get two types of suffixes. One is ting, which are original, the verbal endings. And apart from ting and siddhi, that is sub agama in present. So in future and lut lakara, you get tas agama or syo agama, they are called artha. So first we say, look at the sutra, sarvadhatukam, ting and sit, sarvadhatukam. So sarvadhatukam is a Sanjaya again. Now, he's giving name. What is sarvadhatukam? Ting and sit, always. Always. The verbal endings and its agama, that is soft agama. And rest. Look at again this definition by negation. Rest. Ardhadhatukam seishaha. What is ardhatukam seishaha? The rest. All other suffixes used in a verbal root for its formations, like shyo, tas, even in the ling lakara, you got yasud, bhuyat, one by one is there. Three or four suffixes are used to distinguish the lakaras. They are called the ardhatukas. So sarvadhatuka means only thing and sit. The verb final which is common to all roots, in all lakaras. But ardhatuka suffixes are restricted to certain lakaras, like setasi, luluto. Sio and tas comes with the ru, rum, and lut lakara. Three. And yas comes for the ling lakara. So four items are there, suffixes which are extra used in between root and suffix. So ardhatuka suffixes are only used for making difference between the what do you call this thing and the non-thing. That also I had given you when we will say kruta thing. So thing has krut and thing suffixes again. We are going to, so all the krut are also ardhatuka because they are not thing. So any suffix other than thing comes with the verbal root are ardhatuka. Now why you say ardhatuka? Why do you need? Because this is definitely one category of suffixes added before the verbal ending, and these verbal endings cause also, like sarvadhatuka or ardhatuka, they have a common feature is they cause guna. Iko guna vriddhi. Ikaha means iganta, ikaranta, ukaranta, rukaranta, rukaranta dhatus get guna. Bhu become bho, kru become kar, ni becomes ne. So all the dhatus ending with vowels get guna and vriddhi if any of the suffix, whether it is ardhatuka or ardhatuka. But then why we need to? Now for ardhatuka there is a special feature. They cause guna like sarvadhatuka, but they have a different feature is if a sarvadhatuka suffix is used, ardhatuka suffix is used beginning with the bal pratyahara. Bal means all consonants other than ha. Hayabarat, no. If you leave ha from ha to ha, mean all other consonants. Then what happens? So you get ida agama. So bhavishyati. Because of syo, you get it agama. Wherever there is syo, you get ida agama. So because of syo, you get e, then you get bhavishyati. So ardhatuka sya it balade. That is, if ardhatuka suffix, you get a idagama, and if it is beginning with the bal pratyahara. Bal pratyahara, again pratyahara is coming here. Ardhatukasya it balade. So by that rule, what we get that iko guna here 7 3 8 is given. Sorry, 1 1 3 and 7 sarvadhatuka ardhatuka guna. So you get this condition is applied only in sarvadhatuka. So the management, the arrangement, the use of the forms with particular differences, distinction, have been accounted by making rules of different types. First, you classify them, then you name them, then you give the condition when do they come. Why you distinguish different class, Ardhatuka, Ardhatuka? Because Ardhatuka, Ardhatuka are the suffixes which cause guna, and it is Ardhatuka only takes idagama, provided it is preceded by a bal pratyaya. So in Bhavisha, Sya is bal, no, other than her. So it gets the idagama. And even it is itti, he has used the anubandhas with the titti. If it itti, adyantahu takito. So there is a sutra already I had given you. Again, we will be sending you. Adyantahu takita, if it is tit pratyaya, it should come before for which it is prescribed. So ardhadhatukasya it means ardhatuka pratyayasya itagama. Because it ardhatuka pratyayasya, it comes before adau because of tit. Says that it is tit because it tit, it comes before. It is a placement. So placement also is fixed by the anubandhas, and the agamas are giving the condition of changes. So iragama comes because of sya, and sya comes because of the lakara. So in this lakara, sya agama. If sya is there, e comes. So that's why the series, the steps that we process in the language, every step is explained with rules. Every form, every variation that we find in our languages, particularly in Sanskrit, and it is able to account for it adequately as far as possible. Okay, so this is for today at least. Just see whatever we started with teeth, whatever question I hope you got answered. Again, we'll be explaining some more rules also tomorrow if you are free. So like this, paribhasa rules and so meta language and meta rules. So paribhasika shabdas, the technical terms, and the rules, how to use them, where they are used. If you say idagama, where it should come, achontayaditi sutra he has given. If you understand achontayaditi, then you can apply here. Whether it is Tetahatmanapadana tere or idagama also, it will come. Adyanto takito. So the words which are used in the sutras are very, very specific, significant, very, very technical. And in each word used in the sutras are with vibhaktis. And these vibhaktis tell us where to go, what to do, how to function. So decoding, this is all decoding. Decoding means how to understand the meaning of the sutra. We have to follow this method, the paribhasa rules. The paribhasa rule tells us how to interpret the sutras. And then how examples, whichever example is given, they have so examples are provided by the commentators only. With the best possible examples, they have tried to explain that sutra made by him cannot be changed. So they have remained as perfect. This is the concept of why Bloomfield said a complete grammar.